We are live. Good morning, security peeps. We are live with another edition of Breaking Into Cybersecurity. It is CISO Thursdays. I am Renee Small, cybersecurity super recruiter, helping awesome leaders hire great talent. We have awesomeness going on today. First, we're going to introduce ourselves. So, Dr. Dan, go for it.
Dan Schaefer, Peak Performance Strategies. I help people get a competitive edge and move away from their competition very quickly, separate themselves from their competition, and find ways to win. And I do that by helping them to sell mistakes.
Awesome sauce. The James Azar.
You know, yesterday when you posted this, you tagged me as Alex Azar. But Alex Azar is no longer Secretary of HHS.
Did I tag you as Alex Azar for real?
You did tag me as Alex Azar. It was brilliant. I actually laughed my tail off for about a good 15 minutes. So my name is James Azar, not Alex Azar. We're not related, although we have the same last name. But that's kind of like Johnson, Small, Foulon, Buckwalter, or Schaefer. Not all of them are related to each other. And so I'm a CISO and host of the CyberCISO Talk podcast.
Oh, my God. I can't believe I did that. Okay, late night. This is why I like doing these things in the morning when I have a clear head. OMG. Naomi Buckwalter.
Yeah, I'm not related to any other Buckwalters. I'm going to say I'm married into a Buckwalter family, so I'm pretty sure there's no other Asian Buckwalters out there.
Challenge on.
Let's find the one other person. So identity theft will be hard for me, for you guys criminals. So Naomi Buckwalter, I'm a VCISO and been in security for a while now. So let's do this.
Let's do it. Chris Foulon, my other brother from another mother. So James Alex Azar is one brother. Chris is the other. Chris was the first. Go ahead, Chris.
When I'm not hosting this hilarious podcast, I am a security risk super manager at Capital One, coach, red team fit fanatic, and just all around great guy.
All around.
Did he just label himself as an all-around great guy?
Heck yeah.
He just
feeling good today.
This is like a Tinder profile.
Like unabashed self-promotion.
Chris is taken. Don't worry, guys.
I love it. I love it. Today is going to be a fun day. I can already tell. Ben says, how does one get a V before your name like the James? Well, got to be special like James, man. There's no other one like him. There is nobody else like him. So Jonathan says, a computer doctor, why is that the coolest thing I've ever heard of? Dr. Dan, a computer doctor. He's not a computer doctor.
He's an actual doctor.
No. He's a doctor.
I'm a business and sports psychologist.
He's a psych, like doctor. Psych.
Like a doctor, yeah.
All right, so 2/21 in 2021. First and foremost, folks, we have had an amazing January. So I want to let everyone know that we started off, James had his big mouth going and said, I want us to have 10 people hired in January. So we took on the challenge. We got together. You all out there sent in all your amazing videos and write-ups and all that stuff, and we shared them around. And lo and behold, we have 8 people hired so far in the month of January. 8 people. We need 2. We need 2 more. We need 2 more. So we got 3-4 days to go. 3 days, I believe. We need 2 more people. We want you guys to put out there #InfoSec hires. That is first and foremost. So congratulations to all of you folks that have gotten hired. We're going to have them come on the show, talk about it, all that good stuff. So super excited about that.
But hang on. Let me explain something, because this is going to carry on into the next thing. We want to get 10 people hired because we want to beat the ATS system. We want to give people the opportunity to be noticed, because sometimes their resume doesn't make it to the right people. But the power of LinkedIn, the power of everyone watching, the power of everyone participating and sharing the person who's looking for a role or sharing open roles helps get people, the right people noticed who may have otherwise just be a name on a piece of paper that is forever lost in an ATS system.
James hates ATS systems. I'm feeling personal vendetta here.
No, it's not that.
I'm with him.
It's not that I hate ATS systems. I feel like since we've started doing this, right, the most common challenge that many people experience is I submit my CV and I never hear back from anyone, right? And you've got to you not only need to write your CV and market yourself and look for the job, but you've also got to be like, all right, let me go back and edit and put in more keywords so that maybe this job picks me up.
And you got to format it so the ATS system doesn't mess up your listings and stuff. Like your columns are going to be all wrong. So
yeah. So I mean, this kind of leads us into sorry, Renee, but now you can take it.
No,
take it.
Kid, go for it. Well, up next.
How I'll take it.
You take it.
Oh yeah, you're the big mouth that did this one.
This big mouth.
This is not me.
Bigger mouth.
This is all Chris.
Definitely. I saw your 10 for January and I'm like, this is 2021. Let's up this game. And I said, let's go for 221 in 2021 and make this a community driven effort. So I put it out there. We've gotten over 20 resume reviewers already signed up. We have over 200 resumes submitted. So we're getting this ball rolling. It's not just for January, we're going through the whole year. So we're going to keep this going, keep reminding folks, and let's get hired. We've gotten interest from companies that want to participate. We've gotten interest from recruiters that want to help. We've gotten CISOs that want to jump on and help with resume reviews. So the response from the community has been amazing. So let's get 221 hires in 2021.
I'll tell you who you don't want to be. You don't want to be the CIO who desperately needs the people who we're talking to and can't get in touch with them. The cost of having an open slot or the wrong person in the wrong slot, only you guys can calculate. But it's just amazing. So it's thinking about who's in a situation now who says, if only I could get, that's the kind of things Renee and I have dealt with for years. Well, people were saying, if only I could get the right people. Well, we have the right people. We just need people who say, who really wants to tap into this whole process here? And what does it cost them not to tap in?
Exactly. So some comments showing up here. Can everyone hear me clearly?
Yep.
Okay. Because you guys were frozen for a little bit, but good comments coming on. Let's see. Ben wants to know, where do you go from here? Why not?
Why not?
2,022 hires in 2022.
Well, we
Ben,
need everyone's help. Like
hired.
The recruiters and the hiring managers, they need to get on board with this too. And think about it this way: if you guys are hiring, you are saving money by going through these LinkedIn network channels where you don't need to pay Indeed $400 for a month. Like, you don't need to do all this. Like, you'll go through the back channels, go through your network, and we will help you get people hired onto your team. That is the goal.
Amazing point. And then not only that, but you have the people that are passionate for it, that want to go out and get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Someone says here, I want to get an InfoSec job, but I don't think I'm ready. I don't know who is making this comment and if they're joking or not. So we'll come back around. Tyrone, please go over how those who are in cyber but not in a hiring role can help and assist y'all to make this challenge and get the word out. Chris is running the show.
I'm running the show. So I would say share with the community. Thanks, James. Share with the community. Engage those that have been in a hiring manager role to help review resumes, because we need those. And then just keep on sharing.
The hiring manager may not have the kind of access that you have just being on this program. So it's who needs, there is somebody in your company who needs to be connected to what's going on here to save money and to make it and to get the right people. That's the key thing. Somebody said before, how do I get into, I forget what the question was. I should have answered it when I thought about it, but I didn't. So.
He said, the person says,
what if I'm not ready?
Right.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm ready. I have people that don't think they're ready for major sporting events. Am I really ready? Leave it up to the professionals who can assess that, to let them tell you if you're ready. And if you go into the right company, if you're not ready, maybe there's a process within that company that will help you get ready very quickly. How quickly can they ramp you up?
That's the imposter syndrome that we sometimes talk about here. It's like everyone has it. Literally everyone has imposter syndrome. I have it. James, you have it too, right? Like I can't be so we all have it.
I think we've all got some level of imposter syndrome.
Exactly. And it changes day to day. So if you don't think you're ready, put yourself in there.
But here's the thing, you're never 100% ready.
That's true.
You're never 100% ready. If you're waiting for 100% ready, your life's going to pass you by. You're never ready. Like you just got to jump in the deep end of the pool and start swimming.
Yep.
Well, it would seem to me in this environment, you can be ready today, but not ready for what's coming down tomorrow. So it's always changing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, more comments here, and then we're going to post the link soon too. All right. Nidhi says, wow, that's impressive. I'm just starting to apply for InfoSec jobs. Can you guys share some more tips for beginners? Who wants to take that on?
Well, I'll take that on. We have a lot of episodes in the collection that you can go back and review. You can listen to amazing stories from past guests that have come on. But some of the things that Renee has says over the episodes is look for keywords in similar job postings that you're applying for. Make sure that they're in your resume. Things that I say all the time is focus on results. Show the business the value that you're bringing to them and the problem that you'll help them solve.
I think it's important to create an environment, not where they want to hire you, but where they don't want to not hire you.
Very true, Dan. Famudin says, I'm with you, James, with whatever James, all of James's stuff, we're with most of it. Timothy says, where can we submit resumes for review? I'm later in my career with no work experience in cybersecurity, but I would like to make that change soon. We are going to post the link up shortly, Timothy, and follow us. I mean, we're going to follow Chris. He has it all over his LinkedIn live stream. I mean, his LinkedIn stream. I'm going to have it on mine. We're all going to have it, but I will post it up in a couple of minutes here. Courtney says, there's nothing more frustrating than applying for hundreds of jobs and getting 0 responses.
Communication is a challenge.
That is true. The main reason why we are breaking the ATS. Go ahead, Naomi.
And here, Courtney, I know you might have already tried this, but if you have someone who has reviewed your resume, I'm thinking if you are going through hundreds of applications and you're not hearing back, your resume is most likely the problem. So have somebody review it, submit it through the channel that Chris has set up. And we're gonna post that link shortly, but we will review your resume, a bunch of industry professionals, and give you some great feedback that you can use to really knock those ATS socks right off.
So here's the link. Well, that link looks crazy. So what I'm gonna do is I will make sure to post the link up there in a little while. So give me a second. Okay, so who's up next? This was Timothy. Courtney, how would you recommend going about putting yourself out there for an entry-level job, especially if I'm interested in an information security analyst job? Same questions. So
I can throw something in there from outside of this industry. I always ask people who I work with to give me a organizational chart of the company they're working for, they're planning to work for. Then I ask them, in 2026, where would you love to be in this organizational chart? And then we work on a strategy to get yourself there. So it's, you go in with your talents, whatever it is, but it's a mindset. And it's what James said before, that you know, when you put a objective into your subconscious mind, that dream drags you toward it. And it will do that relentlessly and lets you get in its way. Part of what I do is help people stay out of their way.
I would also add, make sure you highlight any training courses that you're doing at school for yourself, any self-directed research projects, anything at all that you're doing. So if you have a blog and you're doing analysis on security breaches or things like that, you're doing hack the boxes, things like that, put that on there. Show that you have the interest, show that you have the skills to learn on the job too.
I don't know how it applies with people who are applying in this field now, but I will tell you that don't eliminate any competitive sports experience that you have, because I've seen people hired for high-paying trading jobs because, as somebody said to them, I know that if you get knocked down, you're getting right back up again.
That's how sports relates. Agreed. Aluwaranti says, I'm really passionate. I have some basic experience, but I'm not getting a non-clearance job. So I'm not sure.
She actually added a comment below that where she goes, most of the InfoSec jobs require a security clearance and you have to be a citizen. If you're applying for government work, yeah. But most private industry doesn't require security clearance. So just wondering what jobs or what websites she's using to look for work.
Yeah, there's tons and tons. I hired last year, I don't know how many people, and the vast majority did not need a clearance. Did not, including high school people who were still in college or who were just right about to graduate from college with zero real world experience, but they were really good in capture the flags. They were good in, they had some other experience on their own, like while being in school, and they were hired and they did not need a clearance. So I just want to double down on what James is saying. Okay, so let's see. Not a question, but this is my food. It's not a question, but love the work you guys are doing. You're doing a lot with these live streams and CV advice sessions. I predict that it will build momentum through 2021 and help many more people into the industry.
That's the goal.
Join us, Mafuz. You can be a reviewer. We need more people. Mafuz won the challenge I had. He won $10 the other day.
Awesome.
With my challenge. Awesome.
$10? What did you?
He won $10. I had a contest. If cybersecurity had a mascot, what would it be and why? And he answered really well. Tom and Jerry from the kids' cartoon show way back in the day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Red team, blue team. Yeah, they fight each other, but they learn from each other. I really like that. It was a nice analogy. Yeah.
That's
I like the honey badger.
And they never catch each other, too. Like every time you think they caught each other, they get away. That's pretty much cybersecurity. That's really well done, Mafuz. She only gave you $10. What a cheapie. Seriously, what the hell?
And I think he's in the UK or he's in the EU somewhere, so it's even less money for him.
Yeah, that's even less money. The dollar's getting crushed right now.
It's $2. You can buy a sandwich.
So Michael,
the dollar's kind of like the. Go ahead.
He says, "Don't do government work."
Yeah. I think we all did government work at one time.
So I will say this, though. So there's a new federal chief information security officer that got appointed literally this week. And the White House just budgeted $200 million to the cybersecurity workforce for the federal government. That's literally happened in the last 24 hours.
That's amazing.
So this new administration is really taking cybersecurity seriously, and they're dedicating some resources to it, including hiring a federal CISO, which the previous administration really did not have. And the way they're looking to fill the CISO leadership role is also very interesting. They're looking to kind of revamp CISO a little bit more and so forth. So there's some really positive stuff being done from a federal government perspective. I expect that within a year or two, federal jobs in cyber will be as competitive in pay as some of the private sector jobs.
Yeah. I was on last night. We did a podcast with Federal Career Connections, and they, a lady, Chris Westbrook, who's a former CIA, former CIA director. She was sharing information around what's happening and what's new on a CIA perspective as well, specifically around cyber. So, do you guys hear an echo from me? Yeah. All right. I will pause. I will mute myself. I don't know what just happened.
So that's one of the, I think that's like the biggest thing from a perspective of federal work right now is the idea that they're going to take cyber a lot more seriously. So don't be discouraged by what we've seen. I think with time now, it's going to get better. So we have another comment here. I'll pretend to be Renee. So another comment dropping. Also, is there a way to bypass the HR screening, as they don't usually know the skills that can translate? They only look for keywords, which doesn't tell you anything about the candidate's work experience. Kind of why the whole purpose of why we started InfoSec hires and now hashtag 221 in 2021 that Chris has taken on. I'm going to have to like say that 3 times fast in front of a mirror to get it like smooth. But that's the whole point. So for everyone watching or participating, when you like, if you just search those hashtags on LinkedIn once a day and then share all those posts, or, you know, if you're following any one of us and you see us sharing this stuff, please like share it as well and comment for visibility. And that'll help, you know, kind of beat the HR screening and get you noticed by hiring managers, and tag hiring managers in these posts. I think that's really important, especially on LinkedIn. Like, tag them in the post.
Yeah, and remember,
same thing on Twitter.
Exactly. And remember, guys, the best way to find a job is to have the recruiters and hiring managers find you. So if you are not visible on social media and you're not visible on LinkedIn, like, no one's ever going to find you. Write a blog, join a podcast, like volunteer at a cybersecurity working group, put yourself out there. People will find you. In fact, like this job that I have now is because someone found me on LinkedIn. Like that, it happens. It works. Don't go to them. They'll come to you, and good things happen.
So Timothy says, just in case you haven't mentioned it, veterans looking to get into the industry can go to Fed FTE and take certification courses from cybersecurity and from CISA, so Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, for free. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a ton of free resources for vets.
That's awesome. Awesome. One of the comments came through when I had to refresh my computer. Michelle said, I'm currently in school and know a decent amount of Linux and SQL and other technologies. Do you think it's possible to get an entry-level job in cyber?
Yeah. I mean, definitely think there's ways to get an entry-level job in cyber, as long as you can show how the Linux skills, how the SQL skills can be used to secure the infrastructure. You can use your experience to say, hey, because you set it up this way, these are the risks that you have, or this is how something can be manipulated, and this is my recommendation to secure it. So you use your Linux knowledge, your SQL knowledge in securing the infrastructure or in highlighting the risks, and that's how you can step in.
If we come back to the concept of selling mistakes, if you can identify the mistakes that you will not let somebody make, that you can identify what mistakes cost somebody money, emotion, and reputation, when you're talking to them about it, it's what they don't want to have happen from the recruiting manager not wanting to lose you, to the CIO not wanting to have the wrong people underneath him to protect his data.
All right. So another question that had come through was from Sebastian. I don't know if we went through this while I was gone for a second, but it says, does LinkedIn accounts that get checked by, do your LinkedIn accounts get checked by ATSs, or do actual people look at your skills? I completed a few of the amazing LinkedIn skills, but I'm not sure if they actually stand out. And this was from Sebastian. Did we answer this yet?
No.
So LinkedIn LinkedIn is almost like its own ATS in a way. So for a lot of people that don't really realize this, LinkedIn is a huge, as you all probably are aware, recruiting tool. It started out that way. And so the social chatty aspect is, come on in the recent years, but initially it was really like almost a job board kind of a situation. The ATS, so they have behind the scenes a little bit of an ATS. Typically it is humans looking through, like they have their own algorithms, and they can, if there's a job that's posted, they can rank your LinkedIn profile to that job. So you want to make sure you have a really, really maximized LinkedIn profile. So people focus a lot on resumes too, but LinkedIn profiles are also very, very important, because if a LinkedIn job is posted, it will connect to your profile to that job if it's a really good job. If it's a really good profile. Secondly, recruiters behind the scenes do eyeball some of this stuff, but again, they typically eyeball, if you have hundreds of people potentially for a role, the ones that reach the surface are the folks that have the most, almost like your resume is optimized for these positions. In regards to the LinkedIn skills, I don't really look at those, like if there's like some kind of LinkedIn certification, I don't know. I don't really look at those all that much in terms of, skills for security. I don't know if any of you do, but I don't really look at it much. Okay, cool. So Tyrone says, and I know Chris has to jump soon. So Chris, are you staying? You gotta roll. Okay, bye, Chris. All right. So Tyrone says,
Bye, Chris.
For those looking to get that first entry-level job, number 1, get your resume reviewed. Number 2, attend professional virtual meetings. Number 3, network. Number 4, apply. Number 5, take heed to Chris, Dr. Darren, Renee, James, and Naomi. Number 5, do not get discouraged. I was 3 years ago. I applied over 200 times.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of challenges.
So Michael has jokes. I have MS Paint on my LinkedIn skills. Got mad people banging on my door because of it.
Hey, that's a very rare skill nowadays.
We need you. Oh, man.
But all joking aside, I do see people list their skills in kind of the wrong order. Like I'll see people put HTML as their first skill. Like that is not a security thing. like good for you that you know HTML, but how is that going to help you get a security job? So really be focused on getting your resume like perfect. Remember, it's a marketing document. You can put things and you can order things around that will help you stand out. So have someone look at it, submit your resume for a review. We are doing another round of these, 221 in 2021. Let's go.
Awesome. Mahfouz has a really interesting comment here. I feel like the conditions here in the UK cybersecurity industry may differ from you guys across the pond in the US. So perhaps you could bring in guests from other places, though, of course, there'll be plenty of advice that you guys can give that work globally. P.S. Naomi, I got £6.50, right? From your $10. Happy nonetheless. So he gets one French fry or one chip.
One biscuit. Yeah, one biscuit.
No, negative. You know what you can get for £6 in New York, in like London? You can get like 6 scoops of Chinese food.
Oh, from the street vendors? No thanks.
Yeah, like that's like the best.
Not during a pandemic. It's a pass.
Or like you can get fish and chips, like the newspaper fish and chips for like £6.
He can get a cuppa and a biscuit.
You ain't fancy.
I'm fancy.
Oh my God. Would you say that networking certs are also useless as a skill to bring in addition to cybersecurity certs?
Depending on the discipline in cyber. So if you're doing, network security, then networking certs are important for, that discipline in cyber. If you're, doing governance and risk, not so much. So again, cyber has a lot of disciplines. And I think that's one thing a lot of job seekers don't wrap their heads around is like in marketing, there might be two disciplines, right? And I might be wrong here. And some marketing people might just be like, James, you don't know what the heck you're talking about. And I very well might not be. But let's say, for example, sales. Sales has two disciplines, right? You either know how to sell retail or you know how to sell enterprise, right? Those are the two disciplines. That's it. But sales is sales. It's one skill. Cyber has a ton of disciplines, a ton of them. And so you have to be able to, if you want to be in networking, then get networking certs and get security certs and go into network security and understand the career path and the trajectory of network security. Like understand there's a glass ceiling at network security. You're going to reach a point where you've maxed out the amount of money you can earn and the title that you hold. The same thing with system admins or governance and risk. CISOs today, if your career trajectory is to be a CISO, you can't just understand cyber. You also have to understand business. And I think that's really important for people to understand. Like you got to be a business person. You got to be a businessman. You got to understand how a business operates and how security can be part of the business in order to be a successful CISO. The days of a CISO kind of sitting in that basement office with no windows with a team of people in hoodies are over with. Security today is an integral part of the business. And based on your career trajectory and what you want to do with it, you got to be able to pick up the other parts beyond security. That's why I always tell people, like, get a PMP. Like project management allows you to really kind of do special security business projects across the enterprise and kind of get noticed by other departments and get exposure and get cross-trained. There's different aspects of it that are really important that you have to be able to do in order to be successful in security over the long term.
James, you got to shout out Michael Kurnow.
Oh, thank you,
Michael. My language right for real. I'll just echo what James said. Like, if you want to be a security leader, and I think that's where most people in security eventually want to be, you do need that broad range of experience across different domains. So think mile wide, inch deep kind of stuff like CISSP teaches you. So it's okay to go ahead and study for these certs. Certainly try to do certs if you can, but there is value in learning also. So even if you don't have the hands-on, at least you have the book knowledge that you can bring to the table if someone asks you for information and advice. And one thing that, again, what James is saying, like those cross-domain, like those different kind of skills that you need as a security leader, I think the number one important thing for me as a security leader is to have relationship building skills, empathy, emotional intelligence. That is like the number one thing that I need to lean back on and to fall back on to be able to influence others and to like get things done. Because as a security leader, you're not going to be hands on the keyboard fixing all the security problems and engineering problems. You need to influence others to do it themselves and motivate other team members. So empathy and emotional intelligence is such a huge thing that we overlook as an industry and as a community. We don't talk about it enough. And that's why we see a lot of like jerks. A lot. And I'm hoping we get away from that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, so you brought up a great segue into the cyber couch. So emotional intelligence, the stress of the job. There's a lot of different things that impact like someone's capabilities to advance in cyber. And I think the more responsibility you take on, the more stressful the job is. And, Naomi asked me earlier today, she asked me how many hours of sleep I got last night. Cause obviously, I get 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night if I'm lucky. If I'm lucky, partly because of the job, partly because of all the other things I do, including, I'm a CISO and I have a podcast and I'm working on a new business venture and all these different things. And so, security is not a 9-to-5 job. And that's the one thing you have to ask yourselves is, if I want to become a CISO, if I want to go up the ladder, if I want to climb up the ladder and be successful, you've got to be willing to put that in. And that's why we're launching something called the Cyber Couch. The Cyber Couch is kind of a place to come and vent. Oh, that's really funny.
Why not?
I wish you guys could see like the back scenes of what's going on here, because Renee just knocked it out the ballpark. I can't believe you just wrote that. That's the back scene chat here is
it keeps us fun. It keeps us fun.
So, yeah, but you took me off my train of thought. I like just see that and I'm like, oh my God, that's
okay. Questions. We'll get back to the cyber couch in a second. All right. So
I think James, you brought this up before about sales. I was talking to a company the other day, and stuff is not going the way they want. They're doing the same things the way they always did, not changing anything, same language, same training, being trained by people who train their competition. And it's to get a 1,000-foot view of what's not working. I mean, if people are really working hard and studying and training for stuff, and something's not working, then something has to change. It's what Naomi said before with your resume.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I last night at like 2 a.m., right before I went to sleep, I fired off a post on LinkedIn. And it was really simple. It was like, I asked 2 questions. What's one thing you would change in the process of finding a job as a job seeker? And then I asked the hiring manager, what's the one thing you would like to never do again as a hiring manager? And comments keep coming in on this, but I will tell you, like, people here have some like really funny comments, but people here share like horror stories of trying to find a job, or hiring manager talk about the horror stories of being overwhelmed with people who are extremely underqualified. And so, every side, when they look at the other side, they think they're so like, I don't understand. Why is it so hard to fire off an email? Well, if you've got 300 applicants, you don't have time to fire, 299 emails.
People
like
don't understand that. I'm
Yeah,
so glad you're bringing that up.
You don't, right? But at the same time, if you're a job applicant and you're just applying for everything, you're also losing a little bit of your skill set. You're losing a little bit of I don't want to say skill set, but you're using a little bit of your credibility. But then here comes the twist. Here's the twist. If you've been looking for a job for a while, and at this point you're like, I'll take anything, right? Like I was listening to Tim Pool the other night, and he was saying that during like the 2008 market crash, 2009 market crash, he was really down on his luck. He was looking for any job. He was sleeping on a friend's couch, and he went for this dishwasher job. And as he was about to get the job, someone with a suit walked in and said, I'm here for the dishwasher job. And he didn't get that job. Right? Because that person showed up for a dishwasher job with a suit, not, jeans and a t-shirt, taking the job casually. And the business owner ended up hiring that person. And so you have to understand that we live in a place right now, and we live in an economy right now. People don't want to talk about this, but we live in an economy where there's a lot of people that are unemployed, and that those unemployment jobs are going to keep adding up. And there's going to be more people that are going to be looking to break into industries that are growing, like cybersecurity. And so the competition is going to increase, and more people are going to want to break into this industry because they see job growth opportunities here and livable wages. But here's the downside to this, folks. And I think a lot of job applicants need to be wary of this, and hiring managers as well. As the job pool grows, the starting wage will decrease. What today we pay someone maybe 80 or 90 a year for, by next year, mark my words, will be a $65,000 a year job. And the point of Cyber Couch is to kind of create an environment where we can all kind of get together privately. This is not something that's being recorded. It's not something we're going to publish. It's a vetted, private kind of place where we can come and we can vent and we can talk about things. Think of it as kind of like a therapy hour.
Safe space.
Or a support group.
Support group, yeah. Cybersecurity Anonymous.
So, James,
yes.
Someone asked here,
yes.
The Cyber Couch is a very interesting approach. Will the couch provide a reservoir with lessons learned and best
Yes, we're going to have a website with like lessons learned, and we're going to try to do that every time we do this. We release a PDF with the best practices taken away from the Cyber Couch. So it's gonna be a community effort, but we're going to be posting a lot of stuff on there. The idea is to create this like ultimate support group for professionals. Because for those who don't know the surveys, and I don't mean to go off on a rant, but I think it's really important to talk about the real things and not just the la la land stuff, right? Which is, yeah, the money's good, but the job is extremely stressful. And a lot of people in this industry medicate. I have friends in this industry that I know medicate either through alcohol or prescription drugs to deal with some of the stresses and challenges of the work. And those are real challenges. And we have to be able to build a support group where people don't feel the need to medicate as much or at all.
I heard like 60-something% of us medicate. What was that stat?
Like 78% of
78%
CISOs medicate. 78% of CISO medicate in
that's
some
not
way
healthy
or another.
either. Like that can't be good. That's not
no.
good.
Yes, that's not good at all.
No, I mean, but you got to remember, like when in after the .com boom, when that's something very interesting. The idea of the cyber couch is kind of what helped software developers and engineers and architects in the .com boom, as you know, the job growth was going and these guys were doing 20-hour work days in front of a screen coding the next big thing. A lot of them were medicating. I mean, what was it, like cocaine was like, they had cocaine delivery drivers in the Bay Area.
What?
Yeah, like they had apps for cocaine delivery drivers. Like if you've never seen the documentary, if you've never seen the documentary around the cocaine use in Silicon Valley, it is disturbing. Like they were writing their own encrypted apps and bringing in vetted drug dealers, and you would be in your, like you'd be at your building, you know, wherever and anywhere in the Bay Area, and you'd be like, I need an eighth. And within 15 minutes, like Uber for cocaine, someone would show up and you'd get your fix and you'd be able to go for another 5-6 hours.
We're not condoning this, guys.
Like, no, but those are the real challenges. Yeah. We don't want that to happen in security, right? We're talking about this because you can't make something taboo and not talk about it and expect to change the trajectory. The only way to change the trajectory is to talk about it and provide an alternative. And the cyber couch is that alternative.
For sure. Yeah.
My friend who is a relationship therapist, who also, she was on the podcast a few months ago, and maybe about a month ago, talking about imposter syndrome and talking about like how real it is, that it's not it's real. So when we talked about that earlier, I want to congratulate her because she just got Mother of the Year award in Virginia. So huge congratulations to Dr. Ciara or Ciara Simonson. So we're gonna bring her back too. I'm gonna shout her out later on LinkedIn.
Very cool.
But so much good stuff. Oh, another point James made earlier, and I was just pulling up an article here. Dark reading. There was an article yesterday that says many cybersecurity job candidates are subpar, while but it's to the point. The 300 unqualified people who, that inundates a hiring manager or a recruiting team or whatever, and people don't fully understand the other side of it. It's like, I'm applying to 100 jobs or 400 jobs, but 400 people are doing the same thing. So everyone ends up with, 400 potential candidates for different roles, and vast majority may not be the right fit. So,
but are they unqualified, or are the job descriptions just crazy, like high expectation unicorns?
Well, that, there's a combination. I believe I totally 100% am going to do actually something on job descriptions, because I have a chapter in my first book, or my only book right now, because another one's coming, but I have a chapter specifically talking about job descriptions, because yes, I 100% agree that the job description is the biggest barrier. And some leaders are fantastic about it, but leaders have no idea what to put in it, and it turns people off. So yes, then you get all these people applying to, they put up job descriptions that they think, oh, well, I'll throw the kitchen sink and everything in it, into a job description so that everyone can be interested, but then you attract people that aren't, you repel people who would be a fit and attract all the wrong people. So yes, job descriptions are key. And this was a really good article to put out there. So
I don't know how anybody hires somebody without a competency model. HP made a tremendous investment in creating competency models for the senior executives right underneath Carly Fiorina. And it was to say to somebody, listen, you're taking over this position, you're going to run the Czech Republic, for example, and here are the things you need to do well, that we think you need to do well. And on the other side of the coin, if there's something you don't do well, let's coach you to help you get that skill up quickly. But I don't know how that fits into here, but I think it would make it a lot easier. I had a client on the phone this morning, and he's developing competency models for 3 divisions of his company, so that he knows in the sales, I need this, and recruiting, I need that. And he could say to somebody, these are the things that you need to do well in our organization. No mystery.
Yep.
If you have it, use it. If you don't have it, we'll give it to you.
Yeah. Okay, a couple more points that came across here. So Michael says mile wide, inch deep, but what about a T-shaped professional, someone who's more polymath than anything? I think this fits the bill too. So this is when we were talking about the different cybersecurity, not domains, but just the industry as a whole. When James was explaining like cyber includes everything. And I equate that a lot of times to the health industry, because people kind of don't, when you do it that way, they get it. You know, everybody's not the brain surgeon. Everybody's not the, cardiologist. Like there's so many pathways. There's so many different entry points into security, and there's so many parts of it. Super duper duper entry level could be, your certified nursing assistant or whatever it is that you get a little cert that takes you 6 weeks and you get in that way. But if you want to be, a nurse practitioner or a physician or whatever, it's certain levels, and we just have not matured to that level yet. So I think that's how, we will eventually get there as an industry. I believe we're just not there yet.
Wasn't there a viral post of a doctor who had shown all of her ID badges going throughout her career? She started out like as a janitor,
yes,
and then ended up being a nurse, and then like a cardiologist. Like you could see like her progression, and I just thought that was amazing. Yeah. Amazing story. I'm like, you started from it, like so anyone can do it. Like I can be a doctor, guys.
Well, you know what? I can tell you that my wife's aunt, who's in her 60s, just got her law degree and became a practicing lawyer in Israel.
Nice.
I love it.
In her 60s, like she went back to school. She always wanted to be a lawyer. She decided to go back to school and get trained and pass the bar exam. And in Israel, the bar exam is not like here. Like in Israel, like your taxi driver could be your lawyer, like literally, because there's so many lawyers in Israel. That the percentage of passing the bar is like 60% or below. Like their best year, I think, was like 57% of the people who took the test actually passed it.
Wow.
So it's a very difficult test.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah, here it's like 80 or 90% of the people pass the bar, depending on the state.
I didn't know that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I learn something from James every day.
Every day.
Every day.
He's like an encyclopedia. Okay, so someone says here, I've noticed certs like CISSP system and are also required for most CISO roles.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And then they want to know, would you suggest getting a master's in business in order to become a CISO
Yes.
versus an InfoSec cyber advanced degree?
Yes. Most like here's the funny thing. Most people who are in business admin are now going and getting their masters in cyber. But there's very few cyber people going to get their masters in business.
The MBA.
Correct.
Yeah.
You might not need the full degree. At least know what you're talking about. I know other people have like a 4-day MBA. Like who's the person who does that? 4-day MBA. You can like Google it, but you basically get like the whole foundational aspects of MBA, and it helps for sure.
Well, I would say if they plan to do the masters, then definitely get it, because it will help when leaders are looking at hiring, if you're going through a traditional hiring path, because a lot of the times they will request that on the job description. They will want somebody with a master's or an MBA or some kind of advanced degree for sure.
Evidence.
Let's see. Tim says, Timothy, that's great to hear about having other experience you may need outside of cyber-related needs. I'm currently a nuclear project manager and didn't think it would really apply to the cyber industry.
We need everyone, project managers especially.
Well, you gotta understand something though. Like the ICS and SCADA, they're looking for people with that background.
Just like him.
Yeah, just like
him.
Timothy. Yeah.
Yeah, Timothy Graham, your skill set, you probably do not know this, but it's huge.
Yeah.
Mafus is back. After having looked at cybersecurity, I now see it as being an industry as broad, if not broader than IT. I think people often overlook this. Getting into cyber could vary wildly from pen testing to SOC roles to managerial roles. Do you think people should zero in on a specific path or not overcommit and take a broader approach to getting into the industry?
I think you got to know what disciplines and domains you enjoy doing the most in security. Like if sitting in front of a screen for 8 hours a day is boring for you, you don't want to be a SOC analyst or a pen tester, right? Like you got to find maybe like something like GRC or architects or engineering stuff where you're a little bit more, I want to say, outside of the screen and more into the strategy aspect of security. But you got to kind of pick a domain and go for it, right? I mean, and start with one domain, but then don't lock yourself into that one domain. You know, it's a lot of people want to become pen testers, because they feel like that's so cool. We get to hack systems, and I'm like, it's really not glorious, guys. It really is. Like it's predominantly writing reports. Do you enjoy writing reports?
Yeah. I get that question a lot. Also, like, what domain should I go into? I'm like, if you don't know what the domains are, like, how are you even going to know what you like? Like, go out there and research, just play around with stuff, man. Like, that's one of the most frustrating things. I know they don't have the passion for it when they're like, what should I do? I'm like, you kind of should already answer that for yourself.
Good
personal
point.
people. Yeah.
So follow up to this one. Someone says to Mafuz, that's a great question. I think it depends on what job you're looking for. Some are more narrow than others, but hiring managers need to get better with writing job descriptions. I agree with that 100%. A couple of us, Ben, posted up about the cocaine in Silicon Valley.
James, what'd you start?
Mafuz said Naomi hearing about cocaine.
I did freak out. I just couldn't imagine like that being okay.
It's part of the culture in Silicon Valley.
That's
just so you know, like it's insane.
And like the fact that you only slept 3 hours, James, like that to me is dangerous. Also, like you need to sleep, buddy.
Yeah,
I will. That's what Fridays are for. The beauty of being Jewish is I turn off my phone on Friday afternoon, and I don't turn it back on till Sunday. I use the Shabbat like no one knows. I don't work on Shabbat. When solar winds happen, I can tell you that it broke out on Friday, and my team were drawing straws over who was going to drive over to my house to tell me. Because my phone was off. There was no way to get a hold of me.
Oh, man, that's awesome. I found a quick 30-minute run bike ride, implemented meditation in life. Dan, you talked about meditation before and how you don't have the patience.
No, for myself, I don't have the patience. What I did is I found it when I could learn to hypnotize myself instantly with some of the strategies we use, and people are using it now. I mean, I'm going to be speaking to a young woman this afternoon at 5:30 who's a competitive swimmer, D1 swimmer, engineering student, and she can take herself from the phone and watch herself in a pool and practice her races without ever getting in the water. So she makes tremendous use of her subconscious mind. The thing about this is that people who use it don't talk about it. Somebody put down best practices before. I was on a plane coming back from Chicago, and a woman said to me, I just came from a conference where we shared best practices. I said, my feeling and what I see is people who have their best practices don't share them. That's their competitive edge for some people, not everybody. Certainly, if you're running a company and you're trying to develop the people underneath you, you have to share your best practices. But there's stuff that people are doing that they will never, ever talk about. And there's a lot of mental health strategies. And on this couch program, I'll be able to teach people how to hypnotize themselves very quickly. They decide if they're going to use it or not, it's up to them. But I know all my clients use it, and they can't wait to use it.
I want to try that.
It's awesome. It is awesome.
Yeah, if you want to try it, Naomi, call me privately. I'll give you a demonstration over the phone. Just call me and we'll set up a Zoom call.
We're gonna hook Naomi up.
I'm going to be talking tomorrow at 10 o'clock with the top college catcher in the country, who's number 8 in the 2021 draft.
Nice.
Out of 100 people, he's number 8.
Oh, good for him.
Dan has some gurus that call him up. So Courtney wants to know one of the most important aspects, or Courtney makes this point, one of the most important aspects of IT as a whole is mental health. Another person says that any high pressure job, what you eat, how you sleep, and physical exercise are the best for your mental health. So true. Okay, 3 more questions and then we will wrap. It's almost noon. Michael says, any thoughts on IT auditing and consulting using ISO 27001?
There's like no segue to that. Well, the ISO 27001 is an international standard framework that a lot of companies use. It doesn't apply to every single company or every single industry. So you would find yourself very niche if you did consult in ISO 27001. You also want to be familiar with things like SOC 2. Shout out to AJ if he's listening. Like, you want to find other frameworks other than just ISO 27001, just so you can like compare, give advice as to which one would be better fit for one company versus the other. So yeah, you don't want to just like put yourself into that peg and be like, I only know this one framework. Like, you want to know more.
Right. All right. At what level do we start a dual track determination within the industry? Standard to obtain X foundational knowledge-based certs, track A, leadership roles, track B, should you stay technical?
I think once you've settled into your role and you're crossing into other disciplines is when you should start looking at other things you want to do. What I tell a lot of people I speak with is, if you don't know what domain or discipline you want to be in cyber, then start with what you think you want to do, but then keep yourself open to wanting to learn and do something else. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know. I forgot what the percentage was, and maybe someone is much smarter than I am here. We'll DuckDuckGo it and find the answer. But what's the percentage of people that change their major after like the first semester in college? I think it's like really high. Like, a lot of people go to school and think like, I'm gonna get a liberal arts degree, and then they realize you can't get a job with liberal arts degree. And then you go and you earn a communications degree or a marketing degree or a psychology degree, because those actually get you jobs that pay money.
You know what's going to be the bane of James's daughter?
His daughter's going to be a liberal arts major.
No, she's not. I'm not paying for college under a liberal arts degree.
She will get it herself.
I have to, having put 5 kids through private colleges, James, I have to agree with you 100%.
But the point of college is not to find a job. I mean, that is the problem, because colleges cost so much that you need to find a job to pay off your college loans. It is ridiculous. Chop down the amount of college costs, and then people will be able to get liberal arts degrees for fun and like contribute to humanity.
So liberal arts degree should exactly be what most adults do when they're adulting. You take something in the afternoons to learn how to paint because you've always wanted to learn how to paint. And you go with your husband or boyfriend or best friend, and you go to one of those wine and painting classes.
But James, those people contribute the most to humanity. Like, think about it. We're not computers. We're not black boxes. I'm not saying
we don't need, like, what I'm saying is liberal arts is not a degree that gets you a job at the end of the day.
That is correct. That is correct.
David is right. David made a good point. Should we keep tabs? Should we keep tabs on how many times?
Yeah, if you had a nickel by now, you probably have about as much money as Mafusa's got from Naomi.
I'm bringing liberal arts people on here all day. I'm gonna get
a cuppa and a biscuit.
James, when your kid is taking those type of degrees, you need to find a good contractor who will build the apartment for them in your basement, because that's where they're going to be living.
Oh God!
Thank you, Dr. Dan. Naomi's hippie attitude towards liberal arts is charming. It's heartwarming.
My youngest son graduated from UVM. He wanted to do outback wilderness guiding, and that he liked that stuff. So he said he's going to take a course on that, and he's going to pay for the course. And I said, why don't you call some of these guide companies and ask them how many jobs are available, and then come back to me about this course. He said to me, Dad, I called 4 companies. Nobody had any jobs. I said, so you got to take this tour thing. So it's and then ultimately he decided to do stuff separately from that. But it's like guiding kids is the right thing to do, I think, today. I mean, I've done it 5 times, and I did it well. So I'm very happy with the outcome that I got with them.
Right, but I think that's really important because you see people who want to come into like that are sold by the university that a liberal arts degree is like a way for you to be enlightened and understand and see the beauty of the world, and all of that is very true, but none of that gets you a job. None
it costs
of it.
too much. Yeah, I agree. There, you should like $75,000 for an English degree at Northwestern. Yeah,
you get a liberal arts degree, and then you go and you apply for work, and you find out that being a barista at Starbucks and possibly working in a mailroom somewhere, if those still exist, or photocopying something at a law office or accounting office is pretty much what you're doing.
Or sales.
Yeah, sales.
Ben says he's laughing out loud. He has tears in his eyes because he says we are so funny. We are hilarious.
Well, we got to end Thursdays on a high note.
Yes, we do.
You know what? We should say this. Well done this week to law enforcement on a global perspective for taking down both the Imitat and NetWalker ransomware networks. And NetWalker, for those who don't know, was a Canadian national who was doing ransomware attacks on hospitals during COVID. So he's now in jail, thankfully, where he belongs, after squeezing $27.6 million from healthcare facilities during COVID. So a great week for law enforcement. Great week for law enforcement, and a great week for a lot of cybersecurity professionals and a lot of companies that the forensics to be able to find these guys and bring them to justice. Well done.
Absolutely. So, folks, we are going to wrap this week's CISO Thursdays. Again, hashtag InfoSec hires. Put yourselves out there. Oh, one more thing, James. Go ahead.
Next week, we're at 1:00.
That's right.
We're changing the time.
We are changing the time. It's going to be 1 p.m. We'll put something out there. We'll blast it out. 1 p.m. Eastern. What's that? 9 a.m. Pacific, right? No,
that's 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Pacific.
Renee, that's a math question. Go to somebody else.
Hey, where's the liberal arts degree person? If it's 1 p.m. in Eastern time, what's it in California?
Yeah, I hope you guys can join us 1 p.m. Eastern.
1 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Eastern next week. I will,
But that's 1 p.m. Eastern going forward. We will no longer be at 11 a.m. We're moving to 1 p.m. Eastern time as of next week, every single Thursday for CISO Thursdays.
That's right. InfoSec hires 221 in 2021. Bye, everybody. See y'all next week at 1 p.m.
Great weekend.